you touched on a really key point there that I've heard from so many different institutions, like around survey fatigue, because
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys get on, but one of the things that I'm always hearing, I mean, I was speaking to someone in Ireland a few weeks ago, and they were saying that they just get so few responses to the surveys, they have to bribe their students with donuts. Or there's like a raffle or some sort of lottery or some kind of thing, which all sorts of institutions do. I mean, how many
Yeah.
responses do you get? How do you tackle that challenge?
Yeah, it varies in terms of the number of responses, and I'd say on average, in terms of a rate, rather, probably anywhere between 5% and 25% is typical. There are cases where we've done a survey, and whenever we break 50%, I'm doing cartwheels around the office. But there are cases where we'll see north of 50%. There was one survey that we'd done that had almost 85% response rate, voluntary survey. And so what typically we've noticed is that there are a number of elements, and the marketers in the group are really keen about this, which is why we developed our team in the way that we did, because we want to marry and intersect the kinds of skills that can be leveraged in any respect, whether it's on the marketing side or on the research and assessment side, in terms of leveraging some of those marketing or communications tools. And so, for example, in that regard, we'll do things like A/B test different subject lines and see if this verb is more compelling than this other verb, or we'll do things like A/B test different senders. And so, my boss, the vice president for student affairs, is a very popular, person around campus, well beloved by his students. And so we take advantage of that and, his social capital, and he's very, gracious and kind in sharing it with us. But that helps us ensure that when a student looks at that email, that they see not just the familiarity with Rick Cateau, who's our VP for Student Affairs, but also the validity of that particular tool, that it's something that is going to a senior decision maker, that it's something that's connecting. It's not just going into some nook and cranny somewhere to collect dust, but that it's central to some of the things that we're doing. We'll also sparingly use extrinsic motivators like incentive campaigns. And when I say sparingly, I think there's always the economic argument, which is when you get something out of a value proposition, then that raises its value. And that's probably kind of I've only taken a couple of econometrics courses, but that's probably an axiom. However, we do want to be careful about over leveraging that where it might not be something that's sustainable to many of our departments who don't have budgets that can afford lots of giveaways. And also, we don't want, in terms of ethics and standards in conducting human subjects research, we also don't want something that would perhaps be unduly influencing one population over another. So, for example, if we wanted to do a survey about housing insecurity, we probably not be the most ethical thing to offer free housing as a reward. It would be better as a motivator to say, everybody who doesn't, we're going to discount, or we're going to offer a what a lot of companies do, which is will in a benevolent way, will give something away to some initiative or group. So for every participant, we're giving $10 to the local homeless shelter or something like that. Nice. Those are typically things that, in those cases where there is a question about, is this unduly influencing, or perhaps in an unethical way, a potential respondent, where you'll see a lot of the motivation stuff happen. But those are some of our common tools that we might use to try to address that. And then probably the last one that I'll share with you is where we change a bit of our paradigm, where rather than asking 12 surveys a month, we work with our colleagues, we build important relationships, and we come together and we decide on the 3 surveys that are most important to all of us. And perhaps we reconfigure some of those questions and those items in ways that can be beneficial to multiple parties. And so we consolidate a bit, we coordinate, and the product of some of that effort has actually been a project that we have about a year and change into, which is our pulse surveying initiative. where what we do is we survey the campus population, the entire 25,000 plus campus population, and on a weekly basis. And when I say that, it's a bit of a misnomer. It's actually, we're not sending a survey to 25,000 people a week, but we're grabbing a representative sample once a week. And ostensibly, to the average participant, they're seeing one survey once a month. But on our end of things, in terms of producing an insight that goes into this beautiful Tableau chart, we're able to derive a randomized representative sample once a week of a particular insight or a cross section of that sentiment.
That makes sense. So I guess if I just distill that a bit, so it sounds like some of the key ways that you're helping to get better response rates and more students responding are just a good marketing strategy, marketing communications campaign with strong subject lines that are A/B tested, using the social profile of people on campus that are seen as people that the students want to fill in a survey for and want to give them their feedback. And then your last point, what was the last one? Having a bit of
no worries. And sorry, it's a bit of a sort of a nerdy technical approach. The term for it is a non-replacement sampling approach. But basically, what that means is we take those 25,000 students and we divide them up into monthly waves, and then we divide those people up into weekly representative distributions. And so that 25,000, 5,000 of which we send a survey out this week, and then we take another 5,000, we send them a survey out next week, and then so on and so forth for the duration of the year. And through that, we're able to get a trajectory, a trend across the year, where we're avoiding survey fatigue because we're not sending multiple of the same survey out to the same population, but we're able to kind of divide up the population a bit.
Yeah, perfect. And also you mentioned like coordinating with other different teams within the institution to make sure that not everyone's doing their own independent thing and it's more consolidated than that. So fewer surveys.